Bonsoir, everyone. Good evening. Hello. And it's the Sometimes Vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes, and behind me is an army of sweepers. So we do not have long to take a walk out of Disneyland Paris. It is super closed. The night has ended. The Disney Dreams fireworks show and the fireworks show of St. David, because they have a Welsh festival here. That's right, a Welsh festival has ended. And it is time to go back to the hotel and sleep well. You can see the army of cast members here in their red jackets coming and sweeping the park, literally sweeping up the park and cleaning it out. Guests are coming into all the Main Street shops and getting their last minute purchases. And I have to say, Disneyland Paris empties out quicker than any other Disney park that I've ever been to. I mean, that show just ended a minute ago, and look at this. You already have a little truck coming down. They're gonna empty the trash cans as fast as they can. Look, there's a lady with a trash bag going, I'm gonna get all the trash. We're gonna get all the trash. Cleaning up after everyone was standing here watching the Disney Dreams fireworks / castle projection show, which is maybe the most elaborate castle projection show. Maybe I can get some clips in the vlog. I did Periscope it, thanks to my friend Euromaestro, who I met up with the other day. He's a Periscoper, does a lot of stuff in Europe. I met up with him at the Louvre yesterday, and he was able to give me a device which helps me connect to Wi-Fi here much better. So now I'm getting a much better signal. Actually able to answer some messages from home, and of course, to Periscope finally, at least sometimes, in the park. It's still spotty, it's still a little sketchy. Sometimes it cuts in and out, but it's a heck of a lot. I mean, it does that at home, so what's the difference? But it's a heck of a lot better than what was going on before. I just thought you would all like to see this little bit of empty Main Street. Look at this line of sweepers here coming around. You would never see this, you would never see at home. You would never see like the little Zamboni machine coming along, the street sweeper. Look at the tiny little street sweeper. I want one of those. Like, that is a cool job. Someday, if the whole, entertaining people thing doesn't work out, that's what I want. I want to be the Zamboni driver, the street sweeper. It just looks like a little tiny Zamboni, even though it's, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it is raining still a little bit, just sprinkling on and off. Today mostly didn't rain. The weather report yesterday and today, both days, said it was going to rain, said it was going to snow. I know one friend of mine, one online friend of mine, who I haven't met yet, but anyway, one person told me that they didn't manage to make it here today because of a snowstorm in France. So there's been crazy, weird, bipolar weather all over the country, much less here at the park. And so the forecast keeps lying to me and saying that we're not going to have good weather, and then we end up having good weather anyway. So I was out at the Louvre doing filming there because I thought yesterday was going to be pouring rain, and then basically on the train to Paris, I saw the sun come out, and it pretty much never went away all the rest of the night till the end of the night. Oh, here we go, they're sweeping out the park here. And so I was kind of like, dang it, I lost a whole day of filming at the park, but whatever. I still have more than 10 days left, slightly over 10 days left here in France, and so hopefully in that time I'll have enough good weather to get what I want accomplished at the park accomplished. But it was super fun filming at the Louvre. Totally different filming at the Louvre than filming at the parks at home, which I've been in a lot lately. Doing vlogs or filming in the Louvre is so cool because they pretty much, as long as you don't destroy the art treasures, they're really cool. I can roll around on the floor in front of the Mona Lisa and sniff the marble pavement all I want, make all the jokes about art I want in the world, and they do not care. It's fine. And I was just thinking about how this is the Louvre, one of the greatest museums on the planet, and the French are so much less stuffy about you doing that than, say, Disneyland security is in Disneyland, or anybody in the United States would be about anything. Especially that art museum. Tyler and I got kicked out of that time, literally for making a joke about spaghetti, which was good times. If you guys have never seen that, go back and youtube.com/livefastsipoor, on my Live Fast I Poor channel. You can watch the video. I think it was titled How to Get Kicked Out of an Art Museum with me and Tyler, my good friend Tyler Evans. Anyway, the floor is getting a little wet. Look at this brick pavement I was showing you guys the other day. So cool. Anyway, getting a little wet because it's starting to rain. Look at that beautiful, beautiful castle there. Couple of things people have been asking me. Is there a lot of differences here? The language barrier is an obstacle. You are supposed to theoretically have to speak English to work here at Disneyland Paris, but in practice that's not always the case. So the French cast members do not always speak English. Sometimes they just look at you and give up. They go, no English. Other than that, though, as you can see, it's themed to be American frontier, so Frontierland, and of course it's Main Street USA. So a lot of the signs are in English anyways. The few that aren't are like the exit signs. It'll say sortie, and you'll just get used to that, or things like this, which means push, and this, which means don't smoke. So for the most part, it's also written in 2 languages. Like this should have English on it, but it doesn't. But you get the point. Like there's nothing that you're super confused about. Most of the menus are in French and English, and all of the announcements are in at least French and English, if not a ton of other languages. For example, when the park closed, they must have said it in 5 or 6, maybe 10 different languages. And every time there's going to be a show, like the Disney Dream show, which is a big projection show on the castle, and lots of fireworks shoot off, and these huge fountains come up. Whenever they do that show, they'll announce that the show is coming like 30 minutes before, and then 25 minutes before, and then 20 minutes before. And it feels like, because there's so many languages, or maybe it's 15, 10, and 5, but it feels like, because there's so many languages, that they're all like crammed together, and it's pretty much a constant announcement for 15 minutes running before the show, just in language after language. Look at this. Anyway, we looked at this the other day, and I know it's probably a little redundant to be standing here at night, but I was noticing how fast the park emptied out. It was the most crowded I have ever seen this place today, because today was supposedly, according to the internet, and I believe you guys, the last day that, or the last Saturday before French kids go back to school after their holidays, and also they have that St. David Welsh Festival thing going on at their downtown Disney here and in the park. And also, combined with that, today was the first day of their spring festival starting. So they have all kinds of stuff. I put some stuff on Instagram showing they have a little miniature parade, sort of like a mini parade. They keep their normal parade, but they have a mini spring parade thing that goes down the street. And they have this thing called Goofy's Garden Party in the hub, where there's all these dancers and they're holding flowers and all this crazy stuff. And of course they have these little Easter eggs scattered throughout the park, and spring decorations such as this over here. Look at this. This is a basket of goofy goodness over here. So you can see they have spring decorations going on, and chief among those, my favorite over here, is the gazebo at the entrance of the park. I don't know if I got to mention this last time in any of the vlogs, but look at Main Street here. Gosh, hold on, before I go any farther. Whew. I'm keeping this one short and sweet too. This is sort of a bonus vlog. I didn't mean to do the vlog at night today. I was just gonna skip because I'm actually a day and a half ahead, because it was taking so long to upload the videos that I was like, well, I'm gonna have to skip a day. But I just thought, why not a little bonus look at this place at night? Now this will look very familiar. This building here will look familiar to anyone who's familiar with the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. Your Emporium and the Emporium in France are pretty much the same. So the beginning of Main Street USA is basically the same here and in Florida, and the very end of Main Street with Casey's Corner, and then there's another restaurant on the other side. Those restaurants at the end of Main Street are pretty much also the same as Magic Kingdom in Florida. But there's also a lot of similarities with Disneyland as well, but I would say more with Walt Disney World, in terms of like the scale of the buildings and all that, how close they are together, how tall they are, and that kind of thing. And just mostly because that, look at that. That Emporium is pretty much a carbon copy of the one in Florida. Very, very weird. Very, very weird. Oh, those people speaking English. People speaking English. Look at that. So the other thing is, all the guests are always speaking French, so when they bump into you, they're like saying things to you in French. The cast members will ask you questions in French, so you're never sure if they're just saying like, oh, how are you doing today? Or if they're saying like, excuse me, sir, did you know that you are not allowed to be here? You don't know what they're saying, so there's a little bit of, I don't want to call it stress, because it's not like it's not fun, but there's a little bit of like, a sort of a slight amount of anxiety, because you're just a little worried that you might do something wrong or something like that. Well, I'm also here by myself. It would be different if you're in a group, because when I'm hanging out with other people here who are also speaking English, and we bump into somebody and we don't understand the French, we're like, oh, we don't know, and we gesture and we all laugh and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the cast members are super, super friendly and super, super awesome. Look at City Hall here. Very, very different than at home. Very, very unique. And I really, really like this Disneyland City Hall. Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. Look at this. This gazebo here And the entrance, because this is Main Street Station, it's covered by a scrim as they continue to do construction on it. It was also under construction last time I was here, so you can't really see. But that entrance to the park is under the Disneyland Hotel, and then you come under Main Street Station, and you hit this gazebo before you go any farther down Main Street, USA. And by the way, it's really hard to hold this phone because it's very cold. Look at this. This is your first view of the castle, is through the window of this gazebo here. You can hear those spring sound effects. Those birds chirping are not nighttime birds hanging out. Those are actually birds chirping over speakers in the gazebo. That is the sound of springtime there. What a beautiful picture that is. Look at that. That is freaking beautiful. This is definitely the most beautiful Disney park. I say that all the time. It's absolutely 100% true.
I'll just screenshot it.
You hear that? British people. Yes, I love London. Anyway, this gazebo, this time for the Spring Festival, is decorated with the penguins from Mary Poppins. I love Mary Poppins. It's a jolly holiday with Mary. Like, for years when people would ask me what my favorite Disney princess is, I would answer Mary Poppins, even though she's not a princess, so I stopped answering that way just because of a technicality. But Mary Poppins, I had the weirdest, biggest crush on Mary Poppins. Am I the only one that ever had a crush on Mary Poppins? I don't know, it just seemed like a weird one. Everyone else was like, oh, Ariel, she's so bae, I would marry her in a second, all this stuff. And I was always like, Jasmine Belle and Mary Poppins. And people would always be like, Mary Poppins? That's she's like a nanny. And I'm like, I don't know, something about her. She's practically perfect in every way. Look at this. Speaking of Mary Poppins, when I first walked in the park the other day after getting off the plane, not only did I see those awesome penguins on the gazebo there, but I popped in and saw these Mary Poppins topiaries. There's one on either side. Actually, you see the Banks children there flying their kites. And then over here, Mary and Bert having a jolly holiday. Spring is in the air here. Spring Festival has begun. You can see they're actually riding the turtles on the pond. They are very, very, very elaborate with the whole like topiary stuff here and all that kind of thing. They have a lot of extra decorations in this park. Like in the stores, there's all kinds of these like elaborate well, I'll show you an example over here. Actually, why not? It's starting to rain, and I'm sure any second somebody very politely in French is going to tell us to leave, but that's okay. Another thing that's very different than the United States is the issue of personal space. And I'm answering a bunch of questions people ask me. I thought, why not do this bonus vlog and then just answer some questions people ask? The issue of personal space. In France, apparently, they do not believe in personal space. And I have conferred with friends here who are British, and friends here who are German, and even friends here who are also French. And all of them agree that French people just are not born, or well, are not raised with that sense of like, don't bump into people, don't touch. So there'll be basically nobody in line. It'll be a wide open street like this. And if you go backwards in this vlog, I'm sure you'll see people getting really close. I'm moving out of the way of people that get really close to you. You'll have all this space, and you'll be standing right here filming or doing something like this, and we'll test this. We'll see if these are French people. And people will come very, very, very close to you. Like in the United States, in this big wide walkway, people would not even have come that close. I wasn't standing directly in their path. That would have been rude on my part. But if I was standing here and somebody was coming sort of towards me in my path, oh, look how beautiful that is, just being empty. Also, this music is the same as Main Street USA at Disneyland, and that makes me feel really at home. Last time it was Christmas music. I think I might have mentioned this before. But this is just so great. I feel so much more comfortable. Hold on, I'm just gonna get this one more shot of that castle before we walk completely away. But yeah, people will come and you'll have the whole street to yourself. And I was at the Louvre standing there trying to get this shot of Winged Victory, Nike, and I was standing there trying to get this shot of this whole staircase, and this guy came straight down the middle as I was trying to take the picture and just walked like right towards me, got right next to me, and then at the last second, you'll have a whole line empty. And me and my German friends, Claudia and Daniel, that were in the vlog the other day, would be like this far behind other people, you know, keeping space because there was nobody in line. And you'll have a French person right there, right behind you, like literally touching your bag and bumping into you constantly. So they have a problem with pickpockets in France, and I see why. It's because you're so used to people touching you. How would you know when the pickpocket strikes? Because you know how they do the little bump into you thing. Anyway, you see this woman dancing here in the street. It's another thing I want to mention. It's very different about France versus the United States, is that anytime there's a parade, anytime there's a show, anytime there's music of any kind, anytime there's any kind of music, people will dance, they'll skip, they'll run, they'll jump, like they'll be doing this. Normally, I am the only person at home. This is true. I'll be walking around with Allie, I'll be walking around with anybody down Main Street, USA at Disneyland. I'm gonna set this down right here to show you the example. And I am the only guy doing what I call the Main Street strut. So I'm the only one who's doing this, you know? Normally, I'm the only person doing that, and everybody else with me is super embarrassed and like, what are you doing, man? There's a few other people that'll do it that are very jovial and happy, but for the most part, I'm the only guy doing stuff like that. Here in France, no. Look at, you have this woman spinning around the street, nobody's judging her. Every time a show comes, people are dancing, people are clapping, people are excited. It's a good time. It's a good time. So there's cultural differences, like the personal space thing. It's definitely not just me. A lot of people notice that. People will put their head over your shoulder and they will talk right in your ear, and they'll do all kinds of weird different stuff. So hopefully these people here are going into this shop, because I hope it's not closing up. Okay, they are closing up a little bit, but I wanted to show you the language barrier thing real quick. Show you an example. Whoop. See ya? I know that was an awkward moment, but I was letting them go past me, and also my hand is frozen, so it's very hard to pivot and show different things. Look at this. See, even most of the souvenirs here are in English, but also you'll see things you're not used to, like these things. You'll see all this stuff in French. What I was going to show you is, look at this. Look inside the shop. Look how elaborate the theming is. Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Donald, and that old Donald. What's the old Donald's name? This guy up here, the professor, who tells you the story of Mickey and the beanstalk and all that stuff. And look, just every window has some sort of 3D character and display thing. There's characters everywhere. And so that's very different than, well, the United States has that. And on Main Street, and also at Walt Disney World, you'll have this, but it's just to a whole other level in here. Okay, everyone's being super awkward because it's late at night and all the cast members want to go home, and like the three people shopping in there are staring at me like, what the heck is this guy's problem? So I know that was a quick example. We'll probably take a look in there some other time, where I'll be posting Snapchats of it. By the way, my Snapchat is Live Fast Die Poor. You guys can always feel free to screenshot those Snapchats. As long as they're not like, you know, of my family or something. It's kind of awkward, but you always feel free to screenshot them and repost them. People are always like, do you mind if I repost a picture that you took or something like that? I absolutely do not mind. I mean, it's always nice when you give me credit and say, hey, go follow this guy on Instagram or whatever, but of course I'm sharing them to share them. I'm doing all this to show you guys these wonderful things, and so totally do not mind ever when you guys screenshot them or share them around or post them to Twitter or post them to like fan accounts and things that you have. That's super cool. I really like that stuff. So definitely go ahead and avail yourselves of that, because the Snapchats only last for 24 hours, so I do not mind if you do a screenshot. And because it's a little bit different than Instagram, because Instagram's a little longer lasting, so I'll post stuff on Snapchat, like little details that I don't always post on Instagram and stuff like that. So maybe you're not really a Snapchat user, but you can just follow people on there. It doesn't have to, I never message anyone back and forth on there except, you know, so I'm never gonna add anybody or message you back and forth, but I'll post pictures of things that only last for 24 hours, and so it's all these different details and stuff like that. Because I post enough pictures on Instagram, believe me. If I posted every picture I took on Snapchat on Instagram, your entire Instagram feed would pretty much just be me. So I apologize for spamming you with pictures of Disneyland Paris, but I don't at all, because they're awesome and it's beautiful. Okay, my hands are literally so numb, I can barely feel my finger, and the camera is slipping out of my hand, and I don't know how. I hope it's not purple. I just hope it's not falling off. All right, making our way out now under Main Street Station, saying goodnight to Disneyland Paris over there and to all those people who are throwing up peace signs and trying to get in the video, which is not as common as in the United States. Let me tell you, nobody tries to video bomb you here, so they're politer about that, even while they're bumping into you. Look, here's another thing. I don't know what flag that is. It's very similar to Paris. I would get confused about those. But you have it in English, you have it in other things, and there's a million other languages. Like over here, you have Spanish and more, or no, Italian. That's Italian. Where's Spanish? Spanish is around here somewhere. Here's some Cyrillic. I don't know what language that is. Oh, see, there's people waving right here. People are excited to wave. Whoa, yay! So yeah, you have the guides in all kinds of languages and there's signs in all kinds of languages. And it's really weird because you have all these different posters. And I am deliriously tired. Boy, they're still trying to get in there. I don't know what language they're speaking, but Casey's Corner hot dogs and Arrive in Style Main Street limousines. So you have posters for things we don't even have posters for in the United States, like the restaurants. Also, here's some interesting things I may point out in a different video in the future. But look at this. You ever notice this? When this place opened, it was called Euro Disney or Euro Disneyland. It was not called Disneyland Paris at first. It was Euro Disney. In the United States, Euro kind of meant like sexy and stylish, like Euro Disney. But over here, it had different connotations. They were like, Euro Disney, that sounds lame. And so now it's, you know, Disneyland Paris. They renamed it. But this still has the ED for the Euro Disney Railroad. And I believe that the Euro Disneyland Railroad, oh yep, I'm correct, is still on the poster here under the Main Street station. So I have a different poster of this that actually says Disneyland Paris Railroad or something like that. Unless they didn't change the name, I don't know, actually I have to check that poster now. I'm actually gonna check my own facts before I say that. But look at that, still the poster still says Euro Disneyland Railroad, but there is no more Euro Disneyland. So how can you ride the Euro Disneyland Railroad if they're... But these are metal and structural, so I don't know that those will ever change, but there's a cool little Easter egg for you. A little Disneyland Paris history. The Euro Disneyland Railroad right there. Okay, and now out from underneath Main Street Station. Of course, the plaque here, very different in French and in English. In English, it says, here you leave today and enter worlds of history, discovery, and ageless fantasy. And of course, it has to be different because there's no Tomorrowland, so you can't say the land of tomorrow. All right, we've gone from underneath Main Street Station, which is much more uncovered on this side than it was the last time I was here. And I'm sorry for rambling and the shaky, crazy nature of this vlog. I didn't have time to build a scale or to paint it. I'm very tired and very, very frozen. And anyway, I gotta go back up to my hotel room, which is in here. In here, the Disneyland Hotel. Now, I've done a vlog about this before. And I was actually the first person in one morning last time I was here during extra magic hours, very, very early in the morning. So if you go back a couple months on this channel, youtube.com/JustinScar, this channel, you go back into December 1st through 10th, I was here at Disneyland Paris. And it hasn't changed too much since then, and I did a tour of my hotel room. I'm actually in the exact same room. People have asked about this too. See, I'm just trying to think of, the reason why I'm like kind of scattershot here is I'm trying to think of all the questions people have been asking me and answer them in the vlog, where more of you will see them at any given time than trying to answer on Periscope or something like that. But I'm in the exact same room by request, and I actually got my wish of being in the exact same room, so it feels like home. And there, of course, is the Castle Club Lounge in here and all that. And then I have an elevator that goes up to my hotel level that's right over here in these gates. But you actually enter the park under the hotel. There's the ticket booths, and the turnstiles are underneath the Disneyland Hotel. And then you see Main Street Station, and you go underneath it and you see Disneyland itself. The Mickey, the floral Mickey that would be right here in the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, is actually outside, out there. And last time I got it on the vlog, I showed it, but this time I can't do that because those fountains and that floral Mickey are actually all under construction and have barricades around them. Whoa, listen to that. The Main Street music has stopped. Disneyland Paris is closed for the day. And if the Main Street music stops, I guess the vlog should stop too. Up there, the presidential suite where Michael Jackson used to stay, on that balcony. We started a vlog there the other night. Go and check that out. It's actually I think it's actually the Sleeping Beauty suite, not the presidential suite, but presidential suite meaning it's the biggest, fanciest suite in the hotel. Right up there. We were hanging out right up there, jumping on Michael Jackson's bed. So go back and watch that. I will see you all very soon. This ended up being 20-something minutes long. I meant to just go for 2 minutes and give you a little extra bonus vlog. But now, either way, I've done my duty. It's time to go hotel and edit a lot of video and hopefully eat some food and then sleep well. I love you all. I'll see you all a little later. Bye bye. See, look at sortie, sortie. That's where we have to exit. That's where we have to exit. Good night. Good night. Ooh. What? You're still here? Come on, guys. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Bonsoir. Good night. And also, au revoir. Bye bye.